Hello YouTube, Redhead Takes here, back with a Week 12 NFL Picks video. Last week I did 11-3, so much better. Frustrating that the Packers lost, frustrating that the Bears lost at the last second. I would have had more. I totally give up the fact that I got the Detroit Lions and New York Giants game wrong. But yeah. Here we are with another week. I'm sure another week of ridiculous action and ridiculous drama will take place. And I'm sure after the great week I had last week, this week will be different. But let's get into it right away. Let's start out with the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. On Thanksgiving, as always, the Lions always play on Thanksgiving at home. It'd be nice if they played on the road for once, but it's a NFL tradition that spans back to the 60s, so it's not going to change, but I think Buffalo wins this one. I don't know how many more of their defensive players they get back, although they looked better last week. They started out kind of bad, and they couldn't score, but they eventually they had to settle for field goals, but they made 6 of 6 field goals, so Detroit, Jamal Williams has been one of the better running backs this year. Getting lots of touchdowns, leading the league in touchdowns, and DeAndre Swift is slowly getting back to it, but it's been a pretty 50-50 split between the two. But hopefully Josh Allen gets a little better this week. Another week of playing in at Ford Field. Maybe they'll pull it off. I think the Bills will win, but the Lions always have a chance to win because it's Thursday. And they just are feisty on Thanksgiving. Next we have the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. A titanic matchup for both these teams, even though one team is definitely better off than the other. Especially after Wan'Dale Robinson got injured this week for the Giants. It's going to be a huge loss for them. And unless Saquon Barkley can run the ball in this game, unlike last week, I don't think the Giants have much of a chance, to be honest. Just because they're running out of offensive options, and you could tell last week Wan'Dale Robinson was their only real target out there. They didn't have any answers for Detroit, and Dallas just whooped the Minnesota Vikings and put the smackdown on them, showing that they are a great team. I still think they have some issues here and there, but Minnesota had their comeuppance after having too many close matches. And I like Dallas to win this game. It'll probably be a close game for most of the game, but I think Dallas pulls away. At the end, to be honest, I just don't think the Giants are really for real. They've just had a really easy schedule so far this year. And I don't think that the Giants really will win. They just don't have enough offensive weapons, and I don't see where all the points are going to come from to match up with Dallas. So Dallas wins. Next we have New England Patriots and the Minnesota Vikings. As I was saying, Minnesota comes off that depressing loss to the Cowboys at home. New England winning an unlikely win against the Jets after both those teams barely had any offense and set offenses back 100 years. But the Patriots won on that game-ending punt return for a touchdown. To be honest, I think New England wins just because Kirk Cousins is unable to win in primetime games, and Christian Darrisaw has already been ruled out. And after last week, we saw that Christian Darrisaw not being on that line, the team is completely different. And New England doesn't have as good a front as the Cowboys, but they have a pretty good defensive front. So I think New England wins. I don't know how big it's going to be of a win, but I think New England wins handily for the most part. Next we have the Houston Texans and the Miami Dolphins. Miami coming off a bye. Houston losing again to the Commies. Dameon Pierce just couldn't get anything going, and as a result, they could not move the ball at all. And I don't see that getting any better. It's in Miami. I don't think they really matter as much, but I think Miami comes out swinging from the bye week. I think Houston should be able to move the ball a little bit more in this game. It was just, for whatever reason, they couldn't do anything last week. Yeah, I think there's not much to this game, honestly. I think Miami wins pretty handily. And Houston, other than Dameon Pierce, isn't really interesting, but Miami wins. Next we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Tennessee Titans in a good game. It's looking to be a good game this week. Cincinnati beating Pittsburgh. Tennessee beating the Packers and doing it handily pretty much. I see Derrick Henry running well again. I see Burrow having great opportunities to pad his stats further. Unsure if Jamar Chase will play. If Jamar Chase plays, that Cincinnati has a great chance to win. It should be a good game throughout. I don't think Tannehill has as good of a game as he did last week, because Cincinnati is a little able to pass rush a little better than the Packers, but should be a great game throughout. I see this going down to the wire. A rematch of last year's divisional playoff game where Cincinnati upset the Titans, but should be a great game. Or I think I'll go with Tennessee just because with Derrick Henry, they have a little bit more, but could see it going either way. Next we have the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers in a game that I don't want to pick because both these teams suck so much. They're so uninteresting. It's a shame that Denver is the way it is, and Carolina is just Carolina. This season wasn't going to be good for them to begin with. I don't know. I don't know how to pick it. They're both so bad. Tennessee and Carolina are such bad teams. I don't know which way to go. It's going to be a toss-up either way, and I feel like I'm going to get it wrong. So, for that fact, I will pick... I'm just going to blindly pick one, and whichever one I land on, I'll stick with. Denver. Why not? Next we have the Chicago Bears and the New York Jets. And we'll have to see how Justin Fields' shoulder reacts this week during practice, if he's able to go. I mean, I think the Bears have a pretty good chance to win if Fields plays, but if he doesn't, I don't think they win. I think the Jets win. I gotta believe their offense is a little better than what it was last week. It was just they were playing in New England. They never win there, and the Patriots won, but I gotta believe the Jets have something a little bit more than what they showed last week. So, I guess depending on if Fields wins or plays or not, but I think the Jets win. I'm done picking the Bears for a while. Past couple weeks they picked them and they've lost everyone. So, next we have the Washington Commies and the Atlanta Falcons. Washington has been riding high, winning their last 5 of 6. Atlanta wins last week, even though they really shouldn't have. But Kyle Pitts may or may not play this week. It'll probably be a big loss for them. He can just stretch the field. He doesn't get a lot of yards and such, but he's just such a big target. It's hard to say he doesn't have an effect on the game. Washington ran the ball effectively last week. Heineke has been great. I see Heineke continuing to start simply because the less Wentz plays the rest of the year, the more likely of a chance the Commies only have to give the Colts a 3rd rounder over a 2nd round pick as part of the agreement with the Wentz trade. Should be a good game for the most part. I'm going to go with the Commies just because they've just been running well, and I just don't think Atlanta's very good. Next we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland coming off a loss to Buffalo. Started out so well, then just completely fell apart. Tampa Bay coming off a bye, looking to be charging back to a playoff spot, looking to take over that division. Their schedule has not been very good of late, so take that for what you will. I think Tampa Bay wins this game. should probably be a good game. I would expect Greg Newsome be back in this game. That hurt them a lot this past week. Should be a close game, though. I don't think Tampa Bay runs away with it just because, as much as their offense has improved of late, I still don't think it's good enough to blow anybody out. So, should be a great game. Mari Cooper should be a factor for the Browns, and Tampa Bay wins in a close one. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Baltimore couldn't move the ball at all last week against the Panthers. It's depressing, to say the least. Until the end, it was just, what are you doing, Lamar? Not proving that he's an MVP, that's for sure. Jacksonville coming off a bye. I don't know, Trevor Lawrence, I think, should have a decent game in this one. Travis Etienne should be able to run pretty decently, for the most part. Baltimore, they just don't have a lot of weapons anymore. But Mark Andrews is still there, and he's just a game changer whenever he's on the field. He should be one more game removed from his injuries, so he should play a little better. But I think Baltimore wins this one. Probably close for a little bit. I think Baltimore pulls out a little bit, but Baltimore wins. Next we have the Las Vegas Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks coming off a bye. Las Vegas with that unlikely win against the Broncos just because they own the Broncos, and I was proven right. I knew I wasn't going to pick the Broncos because Raiders are going to win this one. They don't lose. They don't beat the Raiders anymore. But Seattle should come back. They moved the ball pretty well in their last game in London, although they had some slip-ups. They'll look to get Kenneth Walker going again. He didn't have the greatest game last time, although if you're a fantasy player, you were serviceably okay with it. The Raiders, I don't know. You never know what to do. It seems like they can only beat the Broncos, and I forgot who else they beat, but I think Seattle gets back to their winning ways. Kenneth Walker should have a really good day against his poor defense, but yeah, Seattle wins. Next we have the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Chargers win this one. It will depend on if Kyler Murray plays or not. They haven't been able to run the ball at all this year. Hopkins is still out there, so he should be a factor. But the Chargers losing in the most Charger way possible against the Chiefs last week. Keenan Allen is playing again. I think Mike Williams is close to returning, so that should help. Justin Herbert looked better last week, even though he threw that game-ending interception, but they weren't going to win at the end. But Kyler Murray, who knows if he'll play? I bet he does play in this one, but it's anybody's guess. But the Cardinals are kind of a broken team. The Chargers still have something to play for. So I think the Chargers win in a close one. Next we have the New Orleans Saints and the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not picking the Saints. As much as I want the Saints to win, I don't think their defense will be able to hold up. 49ers look to just be doing great of late. I mean, they only had a little over 330 yards or so, which is still good, but they just were efficient last week against the Arizona Cardinals. Andy Dalton was really good last week. I still think he holds out on the job for the rest of the year, but I think it's in San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey probably has a good day. Well, maybe not. Saints are usually able to hold him up pretty good. I don't know. It should be a close game. I'm not going to feign any hope that the Saints are going to win, but it should be close, at least for a while. Next we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Rams. Chiefs are going to absolutely destroy the Rams this week, I think. It's unclear if Stafford will play. He left last week with a concussion. Kansas City winning against the Chargers, and Mahomes looks up ready for another MVP. And who knows if Juju will play this week. that concussion that he had a week and a half ago was pretty bad, so who knows if he'll still be able to play again. I think he probably gets out there, but Kadarius Toney was totally non-factor. I don't think he's as good as people think he is. He made one play, and everybody thinks he's the best in the world. The Rams just don't have much going for them without Cooper Kupp, and I don't see how they move the ball too effectively in this game, and I think the Chiefs will win in a rout. Next, we have the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers. Another game, not feigning any hope that the Packers are going to win. Philly winning against the Colts. Yes, they beat the Colts, but they struggled all game. So everybody's wanting to crown Jalen Hurts as a MVP, but come on. They struggled all game against the Colts. Should not have been that close. It should have been a rout. The fact that you won in the way you did just is more of an indictment on the Colts allowing that touchdown to Hurts at the end of the game. Packers, Christian Watson coming along great. I think Dobbs should be close to returning. I think that offense, if Watson continues to play the way he has been, should be better. It should be a close game. I think closer than people think. I don't think it's going to be a rout. I'm just not picking the Packers because they're just going to break my heart again after last week. But Philly wins in a close game in Philly, but they do have a chance just to lose just because they seem to lose in front of their fans, and then they get absolutely destroyed by their fans. Next, we have, and the last one of the week, we have Pittsburgh versus Indy. One team barely hanging on to a potential playoff spot. The other, I think the Steelers are kind of out of the playoff chase for the most part, but Indy, they looked good at times last week, but then their defense fell apart at the last second. Mostly had to do with that pass interference penalty that was necessary to stop it from scoring a touchdown, but again gave them a lot of yards and kept it going. But I think the Colts win this one. Steelers have a chance to win, especially if Najee Harris runs like he did last week. They have a chance to win, but I think Indy wins in a close one. The Indy and Steelers games are usually pretty competitive, so I like that to continue, but I think Jonathan Taylor has a good day. And there we go. Those are my picks for the week. And to recap, we have Buffalo, Dallas, New England, Miami, Tennessee, Denver, the Jets, the Commies, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Seattle, the Chargers, San Francisco, Kansas City, Philadelphia, and Indy. Those are my picks for the week. Those are my totally correct picks of the week. If you're hoping or needing any help for picking your pools this week, I think these are great picks. But don't take my word for it. If you like what I'm doing here, like the video, share it around, subscribe. I hate saying that, but it really helps. Liking videos really helps. If you like my videos, please do so. And as I march my way towards monetization further, continue to recommend my channel. To all my subscribers, thank you for watching. Just went over 15,000 views. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the view count rising. And other than that, have a great day, and God bless.